Okay, guys, let me know, one, if the audio is okay, but also, does it seem stable to everybody? Because I just got a whole bunch of problems going live. Surprise, surprise. YouTube's been changing a bunch of stuff, but let me know where we're at. All right, I'm just going to hit go because we're already at 11, and I got a lot of stuff I want to get into. So let me know you're in that chat, type ready, and let me know where you're from in that chat if you guys want to get going on this. I have so much stuff everywhere, and it's only going to get crazier from here. So Quinn's going nuts. You haven't even seen her yet, but she's going bananas right now. All right, we're all good. We're good. Everyone type ready in that chat if you're ready to get into this. All right. Sorry, guys. You never know if it's going to be okay till you hit go, and then it's like, freak out. All right, here we go. Let me get rid of this, and let me do one of these. Bada bing. How we doing? What's going on, everyone? Happy Monday. Welcome to the Adorama Events channel. If you're new here, this is the channel we go live from the event space with for the majority of everything. That if you can't be here in person, you jump on this channel, hit subscribe, go what's up. See a lot of familiar faces though. Sean Vine, Edgar, Robin, what's going on? Brad, of course, Edgar. I think I said Edgar. I don't even know. You ever in a mode where you can't remember what you just did or said 5 seconds ago, but you're moving forward, you know? That's where I'm at right now. So I got a bunch of stuff I want to mess with today because it got thrown into my hands, and I was like, you know what? This would be cool to try live, because why not try something for the first time live, right? Yeah, why not? I got my guy over here shaking his head. He knows what's up. Look, if I can't open a box and use it live, what am I doing here, right? Okay, so before we get into that, I just want to give a quick rundown on what's happening on this channel and at Adorama itself. As always, bingo, we got the Adorama events popping up here. Victoria Will is going to be in-house for the Coffee Creators podcast, which is past 80 episodes, right? Victoria Will does amazing celebrity portraits, but she was really known for this book she put out of celebrity tintype portraits she did at Sundance. I think she has one of the last portraits of Phil Seymour Hoffman. She'll be here Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern. Jump on the main channel for the Coffee Creators podcast. I am collaborating them to this channel as well, so if you're having trouble finding them, look at the collaborations tab on this channel and you'll probably be able to find it. You're not going to want to miss that one. She's awesome. I think she's one of the funnest people. I got Jeffrey Berliner coming back in. He was a special guest, crash guest on this series a while ago, but he is the man, dude. I mean, he's the guy of analog, Frankenstein cameras, anything that's, if he doesn't know it, it was never made, right? So he's going to bring in a lot of some of his favorites, a lot of different formats, and also give you guys tips on what to look for when you're buying used or analog type gear, like what things you should pay attention to, what would wear out, what's not fixable, things like that, I think is really, really valuable. And Daniel Norton returns with how to shoot a commercial ad campaign, and he's doing both photo and video. I believe he's going to be shooting with Lumix. Yeah, he's going to be shooting with a Lumix. So if you're a Lumix fan, I don't want to hear. We're doing stuff for you guys, okay? And I think this is one of Daniel's best demos. It's very practical. Even if you're going to assist someone, this is a good demo to jump in on, okay? If you need to know what it's like to shoot with a layout on top of the image, how to even do that, what to look for, concerns, how to work with a crew, all that kind of stuff. And when I say work with a crew, like, there's a lot of input into a final decision. He's going to walk you through a lot of things, and I think it's a really, really important demo, okay, guys? I want to say what's up to Quinn. You guys are being super rude. Hello, she got in here. It is dude, it is so rainy outside, and it's that kind of rain that's like punching you in the face, you know? It's just like smack, smack, smack. So if I look haggard, it's business as usual. Her, though, always looks amazing. Her hair, perfect, all the time. Amazing, incredible. Look at that skin. Look at that skin. All right, so let me know if you guys are still with me. You guys okay? We okay? We good? We good? We good? I got 30 of you in here. Let's start chopping up those likes so this gets circulated around while we're live. All right, if you watch this on playback, I'd appreciate the like. And this is the 44th episode. Guys, do you believe we've done 44 weeks of this? We've done 60 hours of this. Can you believe that? 60 hours of Ask Me Anything. All right, so what do I got planned for you today? Well, I'm so glad you guys asked. I found this Nisi Jet Mag Pro kit and this Nisi Jet Mag version of a variable ND filter, a 1 to 5 stop ND filter. So I want to mess with these. One, I get a lot of questions about Pro Mist filters and stuff like that. This is a black mist filter. There actually is a difference, believe it or not. It's not just like a brand's version of it or something like that. If you don't know what a mist filter is, and I think they've come into vogue in the last few years, especially with people chasing a less clinical look, a more organic feel, people looking for, I don't want to say retro or vintage, but something that harks back to that type of look or feel, because I think we've gotten to a place where things are so overly edited, overly artificial. I mean, AI stuff getting shoved in your faces. I think people are just looking for what could happen in camera that is kind of a phenomenon that could make their images just have a certain vibe and a feel to them, instead of doing it digitally after the fact, or even trying to figure out what they should do with the images once they've shot them. When you guys use a filter, you are committing to a look until you take that filter off. And that's where this Jet Mag actually is pretty cool, because it's a quick swap type system, I'm gonna call it. What is Jet Mag? Okay, so again, I have never used this. I have and I use and I do own Nisi filters, and I'm going to say personally, I do find their filters a really good quality. And one of the things I'm a stickler about with filters is, do they shift the color of my image? Because I want the effect they're giving me, but I don't want to change what I got going on with the lens I chose and the camera I'm shooting with. I'm looking for the effect, and that's kind of what I'm a bit of a stickler about. And I found Nisi to stay true color. This is not sponsored. This is not sponsored. I just found this. I thought it would be cool. You guys into this? Do you guys want to get into this? Tell me in that chat. Tell me. You guys are like dead. Hey, what's up, George? If you guys don't know George, he was a model here a few times and at Imaging and WPPI for both Jeff Carpenter and, oh my gosh, Joe McNally. Oh my God. Wow, Joe's going to yell at me about that one. Let me know. Guys, are you in this chat? What is this? Am I on that much of a delay? Am I still live? Do I have any dropped frames? No dropped frames, so I got to still be live. Talk to me, guys. I'm going to go into what mist filters are. You guys want to go into what mist filters and black mist filters are? This chat is dead. Or is YouTube having that bug where the chat just isn't working? Because we had that happen a week ago, and boy, was that rough. Apparently, people were chatting the whole time, and it was never entering into the chat for everyone. So no drop frames, just brains. Yeah, that is where I'm at. That's where I'm at. Okay, so what are mist filters? So when we talk about mist filters, you got to think diffusion. Diffusion, we usually think about lights, right? And so there's always been this like diffusion filter for, or a scrim, or diffusion, something we put in front of a light that can actually make it bloom. And instead of it being source, it has like a mist of feel to it, right? Like it is being shot through fog maybe. And you get this off of not just lights, but like highlights. And the thing is that there's mist filters and there is black mist filters. Mist filters are white particles on the glass that actually take down contrast, lift up your shadows, and can take down some detail. Black Pro Mist is black particles, which will maintain your contrast, but still give you the diffusion effect of light sources having bloom. So you do have a left or right that you can go here, okay? From my understanding, what I was taught as a young lad, black mist filters actually came from old school photographers taking plates of glass and pushing them onto ink pads to get like a speckled pattern, and then putting it in front of the lens, and then the camera would focus, you would focus past that sheet of glass because it's literally in front of the lens, and it would just break up the light entering the lens. So this is for an effect that's going to affect the light that's entering your camera through your lens, which makes it a global effect, meaning whatever's going into that camera is going to be affected by this. You know, it's not just like I put a gel on this light and just that light is affected. No, your whole scene, your whole frame is. I'm even going to throw a filter probably on this while we're live. So hang tight on that. Thanks, Brian. So what is the Jet Mag system? So the Jet Mag system is addressing one of the biggest problems with filters, is that you buy a million of them in different sizes, or you're smart and you buy the biggest filter for your biggest lens and then buy step rings, which will actually let it go from a bigger filter to a smaller thread, because you can always have more surface area of the glass. You don't want to have less because you'll have vignetting. Sometimes you want that. I actually have an adapter ring that takes a smaller filter to a larger lens, and I like a subtle vignette. It's a weird thing I throw in there out of nowhere, and people yell at me like, why don't you just do it in post? Why are you doing? Because I'm shooting intentionally. And that's really what you should think about with your filters, is you have an intention for the look you're going after, and it's actually happening in the camera. There's physics going on that you couldn't account for if you're manually editing it later or trying to artificially make it happen. So there's something to that, guys. And there's also something to, while you're shooting, your head is in the headspace of the look you're getting in real time. So that's why I'm a big advocate of, you know, do the aspect ratio of when you want to shoot, do black and white at the time of shot. So you're in that headspace as you're going forward and shooting to that final, closer to that final image. So this, it comes in this hard case, and I just want to say there's a lot of variations of this. This is just the, which one is this? This is the Black Mist kit. They're just called the Black Mist kit. So this essentially comes with an adapter ring for 82 millimeter, 77 millimeter, okay, 82 millimeter, 77, 72, and 67 millimeter. So those are the rings that will go onto your lens, and then it's magnetic to take it off. So you can keep, so the actual filters are all 82 sized, but the adapter rings can go down to 67 millimeters technically, or 82, 77, 72, and 67. But I know what you're thinking. You're like, well, if it's magnetic, oh, they're all individually sealed. If it's magnetic, oh, I see. If it's magnetic, would it possibly pop off? And here's where I thought it was pretty interesting. So let me zoom in for you guys, okay? So this is with all these tabs aligned. And when the tabs are aligned, you can take off, I'm sorry, when the tabs are aligned, you can't take off anything. It's locked. It's locked. If I put it completely, I guess, perpendicular 90 degrees, the tabs, it comes off. So you can literally lock it into place and stack them, right? So in here, I have a 1/4 mist and an 1/8 mist, which means I can go up to 3/8, I guess, intensity of the mist, right? So I set up a NanLite 120C over here. So we have a light source that's going like right into the camera. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look for, this is a 72 millimeter thread, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through these and look for the adapter ring. This is 67. So this is the most extreme case you'll see it. So instead of it being threads, you're just slapping it on there and just locking it in. I almost think of it like how the new like Tylenol bottles are, where you got to match up the arrows and it lets you open it. It's kind of like that. It's like the new school version. So this is a smaller thread to go into 67 millimeter, but you're using an 82 millimeter filter that comes in the kit. Okay, pretty cool. And again, I'm not trying to hard sell you anything. I don't care what you guys buy. I'm just trying to show you something I found that was cool. So now I can take, I don't know, what do we got? An 8. Oh, I got an 1/8, 1/8. A 1/8 mist filter, and it just goes right into the mag. So now that can go into a 67 millimeter, and I can also, this is probably not the right, leave this on the lens and then put this onto another lens, which is cool. So that might be a different size. So it's cool. You can just travel it along your kit, right? I'm going to put this back, but I need the 72 millimeter thread to put on here so I can show you guys what I'm talking about. We'll do the ND later. You guys with me? You guys with me? Talk to me, guys. You're killing me with this silent stuff. I'm the one up here dying. And they give you magnetic caps, which always cool, right? We always like a nice cap. What do we got here? This has got to be an 82, which is what I'm going to need for my lens, right? This is the 82 ring, which will go on to the 82 millimeter that we'll be shooting with. So I'll leave this over here. 82, 72. So this is the one I need for this lens. So essentially what I'm going to do is just screw this on to the threads on this lens, which is a 24-70 f4 Nikon. Cool. What did I just drop? Hang on, guys. I'm having a real tough day here. Come on, come back to life. All right, so this is, yeah, it's back to life. Okay, so now this is a 72mm lens that I can slap on whatever. So I can take this Jet Mag, I'll put on, this is 1/8. I twist it, I pull it off. And then this should be a 1/4. So this is a 1/4. And all I got to do is slap it on there. Now I have a mist filter, but you're saying like, I don't see that much of a difference. Oh, my child. Oh, children. You see that Nisi, I'm sorry, you see that NanLite back there? I'm going to go into my NanLite app. I'm going to turn that thing on. And this is at 50%, right? You see this, you see all this right here? Watch when I take it off now. I'm going to go over here and I'm just going to pop it off. You see over here? Watch here. So it explodes. Now, if I exaggerate it by focusing on Quinn and zooming in, look at the difference on that. So now imagine you're looking for like a foggier scene, a little more atmosphere to your look. You can do that, right? So now I can not only do I have that, but I have the other one. So this will make it into a 3/8. So 3/8, 1/4, nothing. And that is with a 1/4. And again, I can put on just a little bit more with the 1/8. And now it's really exploded. Or I can take it all off, right? Boom, boom. Big difference, right? So that's what's happening when you're diffusing the light going through the optic, right? So now let's say you're shooting something, you got backlights, you know, something on a concert. You got kids on a football field with those big bright lights in the sky, and you want to get some kind of atmosphere to fill up that space. You can do that with this, but with the Jet Mag, you're able to slap it on and go. You don't have to worry about it. You can throw an ND filter in the middle of it on top of, like, you can just keep on going, right? So what I brought today was my 1.2 lenses. I brought the 85 1.2, 50 1.2, and the 35 1.2 out of my collection. Actually, you know what? Let's make this a color and see how that goes. What color do we want to go? Let's go, I don't know. Let's do, pink's always cool, right? Pink, see how small that dot is? Not anymore. And then if I zoom in on me and I do this, look at how much that just, look at the front, right? You take this off, see that? And in a pinch, we've all done something where it's like, breathe on the lens or smudge it up or something like that. But here you keep it consistent and you're not married to it. You're not messing with your optics, right? So I just showed you when you stack it, you keep on increasing the intensity by how much you want. That's why a lot of people buy like a lot of 1/8 and just keep on stacking the 1/8. I think that's a little, I've kept it around a 1/4. The most I've thrown on lenses and still liked what I was getting was half. And people look at the mist filters and go, I don't know, man. Like, I think we need a full one. Who's going to, no, it's a very intense effect filter that could easily become distracting from what you're actually shooting. But if you just give it a little nudge, right? And if I zoom in on myself, now look at this. Look at all this area right here, right? We take this off, not so much, right? And the black mist, as opposed to the mist, will keep your contrast going. And this is an extreme situation. This is a light source ripping right into this lens right here, right? So let's say I took it and I took down the intensity a little bit. Let's say it's just like there, but not shining on me, right? Just give it a little nudge. Now it's a lot smaller, right? But now it has more of a presence in the frame without it being fully on. So instead of you ripping lights to get a flare effect, right? See how different that is, right? You see it right here? You see this? Watch that. Boom, boom, boom. But you see how fast I'm able to do this? So let's say you're someone that's not even sure how you like to use mist filters. You're flying through them quick, seeing your look instead of screwing on, screwing it off. And if you're someone, which I think has been everyone, that your threads get stuck on your lens, especially if you're someone that keeps going in between extreme temperatures from hot to cold, things like that, or you get a low cost filter that doesn't have the cleanest threads, this is a way to not worry about your filters ever getting stuck in jams, right? Kind of cool. So in theory, you can leave the magnetic on there on all your lenses and just keep on flying through magnetic. And then you lock it in when you like it. And you match up the tabs. It's all locked in. You want to take it off, you spin it and you release it. So it's well thought out. It's really nice optics. I appreciate it. And if you notice, there wasn't a color shift in the frame. Some filters will cause warming. Some filters I've seen go green if they're really low cost, depending on their coatings. And you might like that effect. That's not saying it's a good or bad thing, but if you're looking for fidelity under the effect, that is something to look for. Does that make sense? So then the other thing they gave me to mess with was this ND filter that I can throw. Let me get this out of this box. Dude, it is so humid and warm in here, and it's driving me nuts. So now I have this, which is a variable ND version that has no threads on it that I can then slap on here, and I can really just fly between a mist filter and ND filter, really dial in the exposure I'm looking for. So let's say for example, we have that light behind me blazing. We're just ripping that light. We're like, we don't care about retinas around here, right? Throw this on, and I can dial in the exact feel and look I want. If I want this to be what's going on, okay, so then you say, but Seth, what if I want that plus a mist filter? Oh, I gotcha. Boom. So now we're talking about mist filter and an ND filter in what, seconds? And you're able to see what you're doing. So you have clean, high fidelity optics. You have fast use with it. Like, you're not stuck threading, unthreading. You are able to see things really quickly in real time, whether you like it or if you're into it or not. And then if you're not, you take it all off and you got it right there. Put it right back on, boom, we're back. So you could even shoot 2 looks really quickly and give it to client if they're the ones making that decision. I mean, look at this. Look at the cinema going on here. And this is with a kit lens, guys. This is a 24-70 f4 lens that comes with most Nikon Z cameras if you're buying a kit. So this is 3/8 black mist, keeps the contrast with an ND filter, knocking out, what do I got? Knocking out 1 stop. So it can knock out up to 5 stops, which autofocus might have a problem now because it doesn't know what it's looking at, but look at how quickly. So let's say you want to keep a shallow depth of field, but you have so much light ripping into your lens. You have 1 to 5 stops of play. There's also 6 to 9 stops, I believe. I think so. Joe, 6 to 9? 6 to 9 stops. And so you can just build this collection out. So instead of getting a filter that might not work for you over time because you bought a 72 millimeter, but now you've upgraded your glass and now you have all 82 millimeter lenses, you got to go buy those filters again. You kind of just stick with the 82 filter size for you, and you have all these magnetic rings, which I got to tell you, I think this is a cool system, man. I didn't know this even was around. And I heard Jet Mag, and I was like, what is that? And I didn't even know it was from Nisi or a filter thing. I was like, what could Jet Mag be? I kept hearing this thing. And then when I found out what it was, I was like, oh, jet, fast, magnetic. Cool, I'm in. And they give you the nice case. So I'm going to put a link in the chat to all the variations of it. Are you guys with me? Is this helpful? So I'll put this in the chat. I'll pin it to the top. You guys can look at it. I know they're not inexpensive, but think about it this way. And again, I don't care what you guys buy. Stick within your budgets. Don't think you need anything. But when you're spending money on glass and it's $1,000 or more, and you're going to throw something jank in front of it, what did you just invest in the glass for, right? So I'm a believer of keep the fidelity, go for the effect. If there is something out there that might be budgety and give me some weird color variation or something crazy, I'm into it. But I have to go and look for that specific exact lower cost lens or vintage lens that's kind of breaking down coatings, or the filter that might be $3 somehow, but it just does this weird thing that I like. that's one thing. But when I'm working in a professional environment or commercial environment or looking for something to stay consistent, I need my equipment to be there that way, and not worrying about my color fidelity is a big deal. When it comes to ND filters, I can't tell you how many ND filters have made this weird rusty green effect. I would say green. Would you say green? Rusty green when you get a cheap ND? It's brown. Yeah, so, and if you like that effect, cool. I have plenty of filters by brands that aren't around anymore that do some very weird things that break apart my image and all that stuff, but when I want it, it's there. I don't play games when it comes to something that I'm looking for, just the effect and not a breaking down of the image. Is that a little bit better? So think of it this way: you start with the kit, and then you just keep on building out how many levels you want. If you want to buy a half, or an eighth, or a quarter, you can buy more and keep stacking them. You know? Do you guys remember the demo I did with the streak filters? That was when was that? December 16th. I did that one on this channel. If you want to see a streak filter, you know, you can check that out. So now I have the 82 millimeter. I can put on every lens I got and just leave it there. You know, everybody with me? Any questions? I mean, one of the fun things to do is to throw on like the fairy lights. Anything that's point source can get like really into the lens, you know, bokeh ball-y type stuff. Think that kind of stuff. City lights. If you want a boring atmosphere night sky to start looking cool, throw one of these filters on there. Do I have anything on here? No, I don't. Okay, so I'm going to take the 2 mist filters. So now we're at 3/8 mist, right? Zoom this guy in, and you can just see look at that fade, that nice clean, you know, that's what's up. And I can do one of those, huh? But I think it's well thought out. I think the quality is good. I think Nisi did a cool job here. Again, this is the first time I'm trying these in front of your faces, so this is not field opinion, but I am definitely going to be smacking these things around for a little while. 1 to 5 stops. Yeah, it even says true color on here, so they're aware and they're aiming for a fidelity here. So talk to me, guys. Are you with me? Talk to me, baby. Talk to me, baby. I worked for a bike messenger. I worked as a bike messenger as a kid, and the guy that would give me jobs, he would always say, "Talk to me, baby." And he always had well, back then, I think it was like I want to say it was like a StarTAC or something, and he had the earpiece. It was like a flip phone. Oh my God. The times. Way stronger magnets than in some earlier magnetic filters. Well, what do you mean by that? Is the magnetic filters that have fallen off? Well, the thing is, like, I'm not relying on the magnets here, right? Because they're locked together until when these tabs are lined up, right? When these tabs are lined up, you can't pull this apart. When you put them opposite each other, which one do I have here? When you spin them, they come off. I don't know if you guys can see this, but there's like a tab system here. See this tab? It gets under like a rim. You're not gonna be able to see it on this one, but it's so subtle. But do it, spin it, line them up. They're not coming off. So that's kind of cool. It's pinned to the top for Micah. Are there any differences in stacking 4 1/8 versus 2 1/4 or 1 1/2? There can be in certain situations, meaning when you have stacked filters. Oh, look, I got a huge thumbprint on this now. Oh, I'm a Neanderthal. I'm a Neanderthal. You can't take me anywhere. When you stack filters, there is a gap between the glass. There are situations where light can come in at an angle and then it's going through all those elements of glass. Some lenses might react by showing a flare because it's showing reflection through those gaps. So I'm of the camp that the less my light's going through to get the effect I want, the better. So if I'm aiming for, if I see that I'm using 4 1/8 all the time, I'm probably gonna just grab myself a half, you know? And then that half will give me half plus an eighth plus an eighth plus an eighth because I have all those eighths, right? So there, I would say, you know, it's good to go with like an eighth and a quarter. You have 3 variations right there just to see where you want it, you know, because the effect is there. It's just not there as much, right? So don't forget that. You're always going to have that kind of an effect. But I think a system like this that lets you work so fast and universally across your system gives you the chance to try all that, you know? Does that make sense to you guys? Mist filters are one of these things that became this, I don't know, it became like the new, when I was a kid, it was fisheye, right? So it became like the new fisheye, and then everybody's shots started looking the same. They put star filters with mist filters, then get like a star filter off of sequin dresses, and then you put the mist filter on, then you have that starlit Hollywood kind of vintage feel, right? There's all sorts of use cases and vibes, I would say, that you're looking for with something like a mist filter. The question I would say that is more pertinent to you, aside from intensity of the mist, is do you want mist or black mist? Because then you're going to be asking yourself, what kind of contrast do I want? I personally still like to have the contrast, so I lean on black mist filters more than I lean on pro mist filters. There are even warm mist filters which simulate some sort of sunset kind of feel, like golden hour plus a mist, you know? Filters, are you saying fidelity first ahead of weird creativity? For me, you can't walk back breaking down the image, right? So I want the effect without messing up where I started on my optic. If my lens has a sharpness to it or a resolve quality to it or no aberrations, right? If I'm shooting into a light and I start seeing aberrations, you just took a $3,000 lens and threw it out the door. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that always happens, but it is something to keep in mind. So let's say you're doing a mist filter, right? We're throwing this mist filter on, and then you're shooting the sun coming through some trees. And your beautiful lens never had an issue with it. But then you have a lower, put it on backwards, a lower cost filter out there with some janky coatings, and all of a sudden you're seeing purple fringing while using your amazing lens. Are you going to be into that? And if you are, that's great. You found the desired effect. But if you're not, it's really hard to walk that back. You know, actually, aberration, probably not, because you could probably just go into some sort of editing software now and just click something, you know, and it'll take away all the purple fringing or whatever. But still, you know what I'm saying? Like, I always believe in have the cleanest and filthy it up, unless there's something specific that does everything you want. Like, there's some old no-name lenses I found at flea markets that give me some weird, crazy looks that I'm really into. But I'm not going for anything else. I'm going for that grimy look, you know, so I go for it. And mist filters have been used by everyone forever, especially in cinema. So this is, anybody that's like claiming that this is, this has been one, I think mist filters might be one of the oldest types of filters developed, honestly. And I think it's only been in recent times when people who haven't been around sets or shot a lot that are on social media seeing this effect go, what is that effect? How do I get that? Blah, 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 blah. You know, then it turns into like, oh, I saw them use it, so now they own it. There's so many modifiers that have been in existence that someone just makes it more relevant today, and then it sounds like they own it. So don't get discouraged by that's someone's effect. You know, no one owns any of these effects. They're for all of us and how we apply them, okay? Yeah, the gap between stacking filters is very, what would I say? It's almost an anomaly. Out of nowhere, it might happen. You don't know. A light is reflecting off a car and coming at your lens in a crazy way and just skating across, and depending on the lens it's on. So there's so many variables right there, right? The lighting conditions, the angle you're at, the lens itself that you're using, the type of sensor you're shooting to, all sorts of stuff. You know, you could use Vaseline on a UV filter, and I have definitely invested in very high-end UV filters. I've talked about this a lot, where I smudge the edges. The problem with that is you lose consistency. if you are trying to rematch a shot or make a global uniformed look across a frame, you're not doing that with just smudging a lens. And that's kind of where you realize what being pro is, when you have to recreate or keep consistent or stop the guessing or take away the variables because you're expecting this to move on to the next thing, deliver what you're doing. So yes, smudge up, knock yourself out. I wouldn't do it to the actual lens itself. Get a UV filter and smudge it up and plus mess around with it, you know? So and you guys know I'm all for DIY guerrilla solutions, but not when I got no time to do it in, with a lot riding on me, crews of people that are depending on the day itself to go successfully. I'm just not playing those games. If it's something I throw on at the end because I saved a lot of time, awesome. Awesome. And there's always a rogue hair that wasn't there when you put the filter on. You know, sure, but it shouldn't really affect you so bad when there's like a hair on the lens, you know? You should be focusing past that, but yes, I agree. Or I've actually seen people this sounds horrible, but I've actually seen people when stacking filters not look really quick and there was like dirt on it, and when they screw it in, they just scratch through the two filters at one time, like a little tiny microscopic piece of sand or something like that from like a sandbag or whatever. So I have seen that happen, and we were like, oh, maybe it'll be cool. Easter egg for you guys. Me and Daniel, probably about 10 years ago, I want to say, we did a live stream where we bought a whole case of dollar filters and we just did whatever we wanted to. We drilled through them, smashed them, crushed jelly beans and stuff. And not jelly beans, it was like translucent hair gel in them, and just saw what would happen. It was kind of fun. We were just hanging out and messing with it. That stream did not get a lot of views. Is it on my channel? It's either on my channel or Daniel's channel, but that is a very old live stream. I think we did it to Facebook. No, it was on YouTube. What am I talking about? We used the Facebook camera, the Mevo. Do you guys remember the Mevo? Yeah. So anyway, I thought this was a cool looking, you know, like, look at this. And then you got, look at this. You got this misty filter effect, and then bada bing, it gets subdued, you know? And then of course, I think it's cool when you throw an ND filter in there, because then you can really dial in whatever exposure, you know, because when you're ripping a light into the lens, that's always going to show up. Even when I close down the, let me get this all locked in because none of these tabs are lined up because I'm talking while I'm doing this. There we go. So even, the camera's having a hard time seeing me now because I knocked out all these stops light. So when this light is coming in, even when you close it, I take out 5 stops, you still see that light, right? So you can really tailor how you want this to look, you know? Just dial it, and keep the shallow depth of field. That's the key, right? So this is also an option if you don't want to go into high-speed sync. You can take down your ambient light with an ND filter, right? And then throw your strobe in. It's going to knock out some stops out of that strobe, don't forget, because we're literally inhibiting light from entering the lens right now. But I mean, this is a look, guys. I mean, a little cinematic. You know, a little cinematic. What's going on, Eric? How are you, buddy? And then I take them all off in a second. How cool is that? Come on. Are you not entertained? Man, I am sweaty. It is humid. You ever have one of those days that just feels like it's just wet? Like, it is so bad outside. Oh, man. How's everybody doing? We good? Would there be a disadvantage to using the Nisi CPL for photographing couples in natural light? What would you feel would be the disadvantage? So the circular it's not a circular polarizer. This is not a polarizer. This is an ND filter. A polarizer is actually changing the direction the light is hitting in front of the glass to then take down reflections. This is ND, but if you're talking about a circular polarizer, again, anything you put in front of your lens is just like anything you put in front of your light. It affects that light, right? So if you have it's color fidelity for me almost always. right? I don't know how else to put it, but there are definitely filters out there. And this is why some filters cost so much money, because they're so calibrated. There's some filters out there that once you slap it on, it's not just knocking out light, your entire scene changes tone of color, you know? So that could be a disadvantage. But the Nisi, I don't find that they shift color. I just don't. At least for what I'm doing, which I haven't seen anything yet, which is why I personally bought the Nisi ND filters for what I'm doing, which, you know, when I'm using shallow looks while filming myself, that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's super hot, Peter. Turn it off. What does the number say on it? I know. Come over here. Come over here. Feel this. It's 1,000 degrees up here. 79? There's got to be more. Man, it's so humid. I think it's all the water coming through the windows right now. Just killing me. So yeah, again, I don't care what you guys buy. This is not sponsored. I am not telling you guys there aren't other brands or whatever, but this is the system that Nisi came up with that I do think should get some attention. And I have it here. So I was like, let me give it a shot, you know? Man, I am. Where is some... You guys, are there any effects filters you guys are using that you're into? There's so many out there, and you can make your own. You could buy UV filters and mess with them. I've seen people, I'm not even making this up. I've seen people spray glue gels to UV filters, and it's pretty off-putting, but when you're shooting horror, it could be cool, you know, or sci-fi stuff, you know. Talk to me, guys. Any questions? Are we good? I was gonna shoot with it, but I don't even think we have to. Like, you're seeing in real time what this does. You know what I can do is I can put a 1.2 on here. You guys want to do that? See what happens with a 1.2? I'll put the 35 1.2 on here. Right? Let me see. Let's see what the 35 1.2 looks like. So this is the 82 millimeter magnetic ring. I'm going to switch camera feeds for a moment. All right? I'm going to switch camera feeds. I'm going to shut this one off. And we are going to swap this out. So this is the 35 1.2 that I'm putting on here. Let me just put this lens on here so that I don't have a dust collector inside my Z8, which would not be cool. Let's turn this on. And let's open up this. Okay, so case in point, right? This is a 1.2 with way too much light on it. But I put this on. Let me see. I put this on. I take that circular polarizer. I'm sorry, the circular ND. And look, I'm dropping the stops out, so I keep this shallow look. I've got the diffusion on here, so I'm still at 1.2. I'm not changing the depth of field. I'm just changing how much light enters my camera in real time, right? And so here we go, right? That's what we're looking at. We got this, and we got that, boom, right? Not bad, right? Not bad. And so if I want, I take off just the mist filters maybe, right? So I'll swing them this way and we'll put just the ND on. So now I can take off the diffusion and then look at the fidelity on that. This is mixed lighting, same ginger see-through skin tone, right? And I have all this control, right? Look at that. I dial in maybe for my skin, maybe a little darker, right? We get in a little closer, we do this, bada bing. And then if I want some diffusion, I got this. You can even see it, like look at just the optic right there, right? And so I go, whoa, boom, and then bang. Look at that. Look at that. So pretty cool, you know? It's pretty cool, right? Although I should arc this up because My 6'1" self is now cutting off my own head. Okay. Does it? I think this looks pretty cool. I don't know. Maybe lighten it up a little bit. Okay, so I've heard a few times that variable ND versus constant ND, even a high quality constant ND is always better. Will there be any noticeable differences? I kind of tell people, this is a bad way of putting it, but think about it. I kind of think of it as like zooms versus primes. Constant is kind of a prime. Variables are zooms, but even zooms in today's era are great. Is there a noticeable difference? Probably not, unless you did a direct comparison and really pixel peeped a little bit. The real difference is you're never completely dialed in, right? Like there's no clicking or stops or whatever. Like you're just kind of floating. So if you're looking for an exact constant, exact knockout of light. So let's say I said, hey, I want 3 stops of light knocked out using a variable. I can put it to the little 3 they mark on there, or I can use a constant 3-stop ND filter for the situation or the project I'm shooting and always have a consistent 3 stops. You know? Does that philosophy kind of make sense? I think this looks pretty cool, man. I'm just saying. I think this. Look at that. Is that a thumbnail or what, guys? A little bit of a thumbnail. But again, the thing I like about this probably is that filters are an investment. You know, you guys. You already spent a bunch of money on the lens, a bunch of money on the camera, and then the filters can be a couple $100s or more if you get really quality filters. This gives you the rings to just flip across whatever. You don't have to buy more than one technically, you know, and there's no threads, which means longevity because the threads won't get banged up, jammed, stripped, all sorts of stuff. You know how many filters I have that just are like dead because of the threads, not the glass, and it's like heartbreaking, you know? So the man, I am sweating to death, guy. Every time I buy a lens that's one filter size bigger than my biggest lens, I'm always like, oh, here we go again. I'm gonna have to figure out, will my filters work? Will they vignette? Who knows? There's filters I have that aren't made anymore that are like they have these like this richness and things to them that I don't want to give up. And so I still have to deal with vignetting when I use them because they were for smaller lenses, you know? But I think this is pretty cool, you know? I think this is like, You know, I gotta get a thumbnail. But this is the Nikon 35mm 1.2 with 3/8 of Nisi black mist filters with a 1 to 5 stop ND at about 3.5 stops out, knocked out of it at 1.2. You know? Oh no, there's bigger than 95 millimeters. There are filters that are in the hundreds. Don't forget, there's wide angle lenses that have a lot of glass in that front element. There's 100-something millimeter without a doubt. And this is also why some people are more into square filters that they drop into a holder, which would also go into a matte box for cinema. So there's also that philosophy to it, you know? But I think in an increasingly hybrid world, we're going to see people kind of gravitating to this kind of a setup where it goes on the lens and you're running and gunning a little more. We're seeing pocket cinema cameras more and more. I mean, I just think we're getting more compact and more, I don't want to say accessible, but it's definitely like a quicker, lower key setup and more and more and more and more, you know, as the technology goes forward and stuff like that. You know? So I just thought this would be a really cool one, you know, to kind of, you know, do one of these. Look at that. Look at how shallow that is, guys. Look at that. Look at that. You guys want to try it with the 50? I think the 50 would be kind of cool. Let's try the 50. the massive Nikon 50mm, which is a beautiful lens. Beautiful. Let's try the 50. I only got a few minutes left anyway. Let's try the 50. I'm going to shut this off. Gonna pop this off. I know I'm gonna have to crouch down for this one. All right, so I am way overexposed, but oh, see, now here's a limitation. I only have one of the 82mm thread magnetic rings. So now I would have to get multiples of these rings, which is obviously the cheapest part of this system. Let's be honest. Let me take the ring off by itself. Oh, no. So now I just got to screw this on. And so this is super exposed, right? But we have our ND filter and we just snap that on. So this is the 50mm. And I'm gonna let some more light in, a little bit more light. This is with 3/8 black mist, right? You know, I'm like crouching down in the middle of the store looking like a psychopath. But I think it's pretty cool. Maybe a little more light. Whoa. I got it. See, I'm doing constant thumbnails for this one. So maybe this will actually get some views. I don't know. But you see, I get closer, it explodes. We get back, right? You can see that the diffusion starts passing over my face more, less, more, less. And we're at shallow 1.2. This is shallow, guys. This is shallow, right? I mean, look at this. Look at this. Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Oh, I'm gonna have to stay like this. But you can even see the difference in the feel of the glass, right? From the kit lens to this. You can totally feel the dimensionality, the feel, the tone of the glass. Like, it's a big difference, you know? So this is the 50mm 1.2 with 3/8 of black Pro Mist Nisi filter on there with the Jet Mag. And then I knocked out a little over 3.5 stops of light with the ND. Yeah, the explosion is cool, right? Because remember, this is happening on the glass here. So the light's coming at me, hitting this glass and diffracting across this glass. That's what's cool. You're almost making a haze machine happen without needing to fill the place with fog. And then if someone says like, we don't want this effect anymore. Okay, well, you can take it right off and you're still knocking out light. You're still knocking out light. And then we got this. If we want to try it out again, very euphoria, right? You can see it, right? You can see where you would put this, you know? Although I am not doing this right. Hang on. There we go. Okay, so I can take, this is the ND filter. This is with the mist. And then we can take the mist right off and keep the ND filter. So this is just quick swap. Bang, 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 bang. Can we see at the same time exposure with and without the filter? So this is without. This is with. Right? And I'll do it the opposite way. So this is no ND filter. Like, we just took the sunglasses off this camera. I put on the mist, and you see how it almost raises the exposure because it's it's creating a phenomenon where the highlights are blazing through. Now we throw, look at this. Look at this. I exist right here, guys. Look at that. Look at that. And bingo. Right? So there's just so much more you can do. Like, and when you're working in real time of the image you are trying to end up with, it's a lot different than, let me see what I can make happen later. Can I put some diffusion, blah, blah, blah filters on? Shut up. even your talent is going to worry about what it's going to look like. So show them in real time the vibe that's going on in there. If someone's being filmed or shot in something like this, their demeanor is going to change too, because they're kind of going with the image as opposed to ultra clean. And then you just throw in a bunch of filters that you deliver to them 3 weeks later. You know? So there's that whole aspect to it as well, is working in the real time of the final image baked into the image. And this is happening from physics, actual light doing this, not an algorithm trying to simulate, not trying to figure it out. No DLSS 5 from NVIDIA going on here. Like, this is actual light happening here. That's a level, kids. And I hope you all aspire to something that level. You know, I hope you all kind of see this as something, you know. And when you get used to shooting like this, don't forget, you make more definitive decisions as you go forward with whatever you're doing out there. So it's no longer, I don't know where I'm going to start. I don't know what I want this to look like. You get more intentful. You get more confident. You chase it. You waste less time. People you're working with have, their attitude changes, you know? So do I think there's any difference between, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Do I think there's any real difference between mist and, do I think there's difference in the stacking order of ND to the mist filters? If there is, it would be in niche scenarios, depending on what type of light is ripping at the lens. But personally, I haven't seen that much difference, if any. There could be. I'm sure there's some very particular nerd guys out there that are like, no, it diffracts and it makes the thing. I'm sure there's somebody out there, but in my opinion, if there is, it hasn't made me go, oh man, I better reverse this order really quick. Man, I am bent over in 90 degrees right now for you guys. I just want you to know that. Like, this is, if my back blows up again, it's your fault. Okay. I want you all to know that. So the 3/8 black Pro Mist, keeping the contrast, right? Because mist filters will open up your shadows a little more, right? Because it's white particles, not black particles, that are causing the diffusion, right? So this is 3/8 black mist, Nisi Jet Mag with 3.5 stops knocked out with their Jet Mag ND filter. It's a variable ND filter 1 to 5, but. And if I was in this system, I'd probably get the 6 to 9 stops on top of this, and I would probably get some more mist, either the mist or the black mist. But I would probably increase the collection, because all I need is one size and just goes across everything. I also would probably get more of the base rings, the one that actually threads to the lens. So magnetic, swappable, lock-inable, not going to worry about itable. Fidelity, I'm into it. I think it's cool. And this is, I mean, I'm using it for the first time here, but so far, come on. All right, guys, we are at the hour. Don't forget, Wednesday, we're live, Coffee with Creators at 11 a.m. Eastern. Victoria Will, amazing photographer, very cool person. Daniel's live on Thursday doing how to shoot an ad campaign, both stills and video. Should be a good one. Don't forget, you guys can follow me, meow, 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 here, boom. You guys can follow me in my channels over here. Last X Witness. Do lens caps. Okay, so these are your lens caps, right? They're magnetic lens caps. So they give you the lens cap. Since it's 82 millimeters, I'm gonna guess your lens cap still works. Maybe if it's shallow enough, because don't forget, it might be too thick of a lens cap to work, but you have magnetic caps. So that's cool. I'm into it. And they give you caps for both sides of the filters to keep them protected, right? Whoop. And I just took off all the filters and the cap because I didn't lock it, right? I didn't twist it. See, I got to get used to this. I got to get used to this system, right? So yeah, that is pretty sick, right? So you have both sides you stack up the filters and the Jet Mag and you have both sides. So that's pretty cool. And they're metal. This is not plastic, metal. You're paying the money, they're giving you the value there. All right. So yeah, they sell the base rings with the cap. Yep. I'm getting a bunch of messages over here, guys. Last questions. Because I got a lot going on. Keep watch. I got a video coming out on the main channel for a new thing. You'll see it when you get it. I actually get tattooed in that video, and I shoot while I get tattooed. So you're welcome for that. Also known as, I had no other time to do this video, you know? Hey, Rick, I hope you're well, buddy. Guys, I am drenched. I can't even tell you how sweaty I am right now. Twisted Lock It, Bop It. Does anyone get that reference besides this kid? That's got to be a 90s toy at this point, right? All right. Thanks for not getting crazy. Your daughter slept through the entire stream. I'm glad. That's what I want to hear. See that? Low energy for you always. No, it's a low energy day. You know, look at what's going on with Quinn back there. I mean, look at that, guys. That is bloom-tastic. And don't forget, you're watching this through YouTube compression. So you might even see a little bit of banding depending on what's going on. Look at my hand just disappear. Look at that. This looks like the fairy from Zelda. Look at that. Look at this. People are sneaking up behind my hand to steal it right now. Look at that. It's going to go in a jar. Going to give them all their hearts. Look at that. Look at that. How cool. Come on. Come on, guys. Come on. Look at this. I should have done this in the beginning. Look at that. Beautiful. Look at what's going on between my fingers here, right? 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 So if you're going for that stage look, if you're going for that backlit talent kind of thing, and they're moving a lot, boom, 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 boom. How dynamic is that? Right? Right? Look at this. Bing, 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 bing. Look at this. How cool is that? Come on. Yeah, maybe that's the thumbnail. Maybe let me take off my graphic. I'll do. Oh, look, I'm gonna hold it in my hand. Oh, look, I'm handing it to you. Oh, look, tell me you can't use this for cosplay shots. Tell me. Right? Ooh, do one of these. Oh, look, I'm ET now. ET. Doing some ET on that one. So keep watch on the main channel for my next video. I wish I knew when it was coming out, but I don't know when they're scheduling it. Next week, I am not here, guys. I will not be around. Is this effective without being backlit? Does it still have an atmospheric feel? You need something to bloom. So if I just took this light and shined it on Quinn, you can see how the light reflecting off of her, right? The light, I'll tell you what, let's focus on her. You see how the light reflecting off of her has this bloom effect? That's only happening because she's reflective, right? So she herself becomes a light source in this situation. In fact, I'm going to knock out some light so you can see it a little further. Do you guys see that blooming happening? But you see how much it's bouncing off of her? That bloom right there is her being basically a reflector. So this is a light source. She is a light source. So it works when you have actual light sources in the frame. They just might not be what you're thinking of for a light source, right? So the mist filter is on right now. Do I look the same as when that light was flying at me? Probably not, right? I look pretty clean probably, right? Clean is relative. Don't start with those comments, right? But when the light's coming at it and hitting this glass, it's a different story, right? So in a sense, you could, if you don't mind it, leave it on for whatever shots and then deal with the lights to make the effect really hit. That's a great question. I should have addressed it before, and I should have been more thought out with this plan here, but Does that make sense? So now when I swing it, look at that. Big difference, right? Right? Now we have this going on, you know? So imagine you did something like cinefoil, poked a bunch of holes in it, black board, poked a bunch of holes in it, punched a light through it, and then you shot with this filter on. This is what you're going to get, right? Right? So this is what you're going to get through those little tiny pinholes or whatever. Like Christmas lights look crazy, you know, fairy lights, headlights on cars, anything reflecting light off of a wet ground, right? That's a light source. That could be totally cool, you know, and this is something you keep in your bag that's this big. Something this big. You keep in your bag that can make this much impact on your frame, on your video, on whatever. That's awesome. So why not? Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? You know? So I'm a big fan of things that are small footprints in my bag that create a massive effect, because it's something that could change, or it gives you that really quick extra look, right? That really, really quick, you threw it at the wall at the end of a shoot kind of a thing, and they might go, this is amazing. And then you go, cool, we'll try this next time when you rebook with me. And now the filters are paid for. You know what I'm saying? So think of it that way as well. This 50 is a really beautiful lens, man. I got to tell you. Every time I look at this lens, I'm like, man, it's so big. But then I put it on and I'm like, I don't care anymore. It's so nice. It's such a nice 50. Man. Man, oh man. I mean, look at the fall off. Look at that fall off. It's gorgeous. And notice how there's no focus breathing happening. You don't even realize it's focusing right now, right? The edges of the frame stay relatively the same, except for this giant orb of light. Ooh, ooh, come on, come on. And then when I step back and we get in the same focus plane, even in the same focus plane, you're seeing this haze. So again, this is something small that fits in your bag, that's fast to work with, right? That creates such an impactful look should you be going that way. I just think it's dope. And I think Nisi did a good job. I think the system is cool. I'll find out more as I use it in my daily life, or my work life rather. And we'll see what happens. Last questions, guys. Last questions. If you're watching this on playback and you made it this far, what should we do? We always do a food. So what should we do here? I'll see if anybody can spell this one right. Focaccia. Focaccia bread. If you can, that's what you're going to type in those comments if you made it this far. Go check out the link to all the Jet Mag options that I pinned to the chat. I'll try to put it in the description after I'm live. I wasn't sure what to put in that description right now. And I'm back live Wednesday with Victoria Will. Then Daniel's live on Thursday, 5 p.m. on the main channel. Don't forget to check out the rest of Call of the Creators. If you're new here, this is the 44th episode. Check out the rest of the playlist. Please hit like and share these videos around. I'm trying to get these live streams to be, you know, kind of crazier. And the crazier I get these things, the more resources I get to do cool things like this. So you let me know. All right, guys, I'm going to call it there. Be good to each other again. Boom. You can follow me at Last X Witness on all social. Check out my own channel on YouTube here. Hit subscribe. I don't know when I'm going to be putting stuff out. I did do a video about the Stigma pop-up shop here in New York that just happened. Very short, 5-minute video. And stay with me on Instagram or yell at me on Twitter, Threads, whatever works for you, okay? But for now, my name's Seth Miranda. This is Adorama Events. I will see you on the next one. Later, guys.